world of the Nobel Prize, Israelites have always gotten more. Most achievements in life, people with Jewish blood have been able to achieve more. In the world of business, in the world of career, in the world of academic, name it. You are going to see Jews playing major and prominent role. It didn't happen ordinarily. Not because they are just a group of people, an ordinary set of people. Not because they were more brilliant necessarily. But because God gave them certain things that made them to be advantaged. That made them to have such advantage. Number one. Number two, those of us that are now born again, we have been made to come and partake of that advantage that Israel used to have. So the same way that they are achieving and they are doing well, we can achieve and do well. May I tell you this? When your understanding of being born again has not gone beyond me, I'm going to heaven, I'm not going to hell, you are not going to have a rosy life here. When your understanding of being born again has not gone beyond the concept of I should not be sinning again alone, you are not going to enjoy the best of Christianity. Is about coming into the camp of God, and is supposed to be evident in the life of people. God is a being that deals with his own people with what is called blessing and his goodness. Imagine in Psalm 23, he was talking to somebody, or somebody was talking about God. That was a man that had an experience with God. He says, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. So we must know the nature of God. And every time when you see the anger of God, you see the terribleness of God and the fact that God can judge, what normally informs it is rebellion on the part of people. In a place where people are consistent and doing well consistently with God, there shouldn't be a challenge. The goodness of God should continue to manifest and be evident in their lives. Are you listening to me? So we must understand God. Look at me. This is a simple illustration. A man has a child. This is your child. Very good example. Do you beat him once in a while? But is beating what you do? Do you beat him every time? But you play with him every time. You buy things for him every time. You wish him well every time. But the beating and the punishment happens to be once in a while. Why is it that you don't beat him always? Why is it that you don't play with him once in a while? Why is it that you don't show him affection once in a while, but that beating should be regular and every time? It's for a simple reason. The father that you are, the person that you are, is supposed to be doing good and not evil. So when do you beat him? When he has missed certain marks, when he has crossed some lines, when he has disobeyed, when he has chosen to be rebellious. The same thing applies to God. So we must know the foundational nature of God and what God will have done ordinarily before we begin to look at him when he is angry. Now listen to me, nobody in his right sense just wakes up being angry. And every person that gets angry is provoked unto the anger. So there are things that people do that provoke the anger of God. And so it's very important you know your God. Primarily from his basic characteristics before you know him as a God that gets angry. And when you know what makes him to be angry, you know what to desist from so that you will not see his anger. God, listen to me. God showed up to Israel in the book of Exodus through the ministry of Moses. And he laid down the plan of how he was going to rescue them from the hold of Egypt. And he began to show great signs and wonders called the 10 plagues in the land of Egypt so that Israel could be freed. But in Exodus chapter 19 and 20, God told them that he was going to visit them, that they should sanctify themselves. Please pay attention to this that I'm saying. And so by the time he showed up, what they saw in God was so terrifying that they were saying to Moses that we cannot afford to see your face. But it's going to be unfortunate, listen to me everybody, that if somebody is just going to get exposed to God, the only thing he knows about God is what showed up in Exodus 20. So you can give a definition to God that is not really too consistent with his main nature. So we're getting somewhere today, and I believe we're going to gain good and great understanding. So you and I have been adopted to come and become God's children. So what Israel used to have as an advantage, we can equally share in it. And our lives are not supposed to be miserable. Listen to me. Your mentality will play a major role at determining what you are going to be in life, what you are going to experience in life, if you are going to taste of the goodness of God or otherwise. Don't be a Christian that is doing enduring. Don't be a Christian that is just joining the bandwagon. Be more interested in the essence of that thing called Christianity. Be more interested in what actually defines that faith, that your belief, that thing called Christianity. So let's look at Romans chapter 9 from verse 4. Who are Israelites? To whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenant and the giving of the law and the service of God and the promises. Next verse, please. Whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Christ came, who is overall God blessed forever. Amen. So we're able to identify about 6 to 7 things that Israel had as an advantage. Romans chapter 3 verse 23. Blessed be the name of the Lord. For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. Lost the glory of God. Now listen to me. When man fell in the Garden of Eden, what did he actually lose? He lost glory.